The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the dark void between three star systems. It was bigger than most cities on Earth, with towers that stretched out like metal fingers into space. Ships from dozens of different worlds docked at its many ports every day. This was the place where the galaxy's most important business happened. Inside the station's center sat the Galactic Coliseum. The huge arena could hold 50,000 beings from across the known universe. Today, every seat was full. Word had spread quickly through the galaxy about what was going to happen here. Marcus Chen walked slowly through the corridor leading to the arena floor. His boots made soft sounds on the metal walkway. He was not a big man by human standards. At 5 feet 10 inches tall, with brown hair and calm brown eyes, he looked very ordinary. He wore a simple gray uniform with Earth's flag on the shoulder. Behind him walked 3 other humans from Earth's diplomatic team. They all looked worried. Sarah Kim, the team leader, kept checking her tablet and shaking her head. "Marcus, you don't have to do this," she said for the 10th time. "We can find another way to get the mining rights." Marcus stopped walking and turned to face her. His expression was calm, like a still lake before a storm. "No, Sarah. We need those crystals to power our new ships. Without them, Earth stays trapped in our own solar system while everyone else flies between the stars. This is our only chance." Dr. James Wilson, the team's scientist, pushed his glasses up his nose. "The Velthari are known across the galaxy as the best fighters. Princess Zixathera has never lost a battle. She's 8 feet tall, has claws that can cut through steel, and armor that stops plasma weapons." "This is suicide." Marcus smiled a little. "Maybe, but I've been studying her people for 6 months. I know how they fight." "Knowing and surviving are 2 different things," Sarah said. The corridor ended at a large door marked with symbols from many different worlds. Beyond it lay the arena where Marcus would either win Earth's freedom or die trying. The door slid open with a soft hiss. The noise hit Marcus like a physical force. 50,000 aliens were cheering, clicking, roaring, and making sounds that human ears had never heard before. The arena floor was a circle about 100 feet across, made of some kind of metal that could change shape during fights. Right now it was flat and smooth. On the other side of the arena stood Princess Zixthera. She was everything the reports had said and more. 8 feet tall, her body was covered in blue-green armor that looked like crystal, but was actually her natural skin. Her arms were long and ended in hands with claws instead of fingers. Each claw was 6 inches long and sharp enough to cut diamond. Her head was like a mix between a human and an insect, with large black eyes and mandibles that clicked when she moved her mouth. She was beautiful in a deadly way, like a poisonous flower. Next to her stood Ambassador Krextal, who spoke for the Velthari Empire. He was smaller than the princess, but still much bigger than any human. His voice boomed across the arena through speakers built into the walls. "Citizens of the galaxy," he said, his words translated into hundreds of languages. "Today we settle a dispute between the mighty Velthari Empire and the small world called Earth. The humans want mining rights to the crystal fields of Kepler 442b. We say they are too weak to deserve such valuable resources." The crowd cheered. Most of them had never seen a human before, but they knew humans were considered one of the weakest species in the galaxy. "The human diplomat has requested trial by combat, as is his right under galactic law. Princess Zixathera, heir to the Velthari throne, has accepted this challenge." Princess Zixathera stepped forward. When she moved, it was like watching water flow. Every step was perfect, balanced, ready to explode into action. She raised one clawed hand and pointed at Marcus. "I accept this challenge," she said. Her voice was like music mixed with the sound of breaking glass. "But I want everyone to know that this is not a fair fight. The human will die quickly. I estimate he will last no more than 1 minute against me." She paused, then smiled in a way that showed teeth as sharp as her claws. "You won't last a minute against me, Earthling." The crowd loved this. They cheered louder, and betting screens around the arena showed odds of 50,000 to 1 against the human. Some aliens were laughing. Others were taking pictures to show their friends back home. Marcus walked to the center of the arena. Each step was steady and sure. He didn't look scared or angry. He looked like someone going to work. When he reached the center, he bowed slightly to the princess. This surprised many in the crowd. Most species would either attack immediately or beg for mercy. "Princess Zixthera," Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly through the arena's speakers. "I thank you for accepting this challenge. May the best fighter win." The princess tilted her head, studying him like a cat studying a mouse. You are very calm for someone about to die, human. What is your name? Marcus Chen. I represent Earth and all humanity. Well, Marcus Chen of Earth, I will try to make your death quick. You seem brave, even if you are foolish. The arena's main screen showed both fighters and announced the rules. This would be a fight to submission, surrender, or death. No weapons except natural abilities. The arena floor could change during the fight to test both fighters' skills. Marcus looked around the arena one more time. He saw the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. Most looked excited to see him die. A few looked curious about what a human could do. None looked like they expected him to win. He thought about Earth, floating alone in space while other worlds shared technology and resources. He thought about the children who would grow up trapped on one planet if he failed here. He thought about the crystals they needed to build faster ships and join the galactic community as equals instead of beggars. Most of all, he thought about the months he had spent studying everything humans had learned about the Velthari, their fighting styles, their strengths, their weaknesses, the one thing that might give him a chance. The princess was doing warm-up exercises now, showing off for the crowd. She moved through a series of attacks that were so fast they blurred. Her claws cut through the air with sounds like swords cutting silk. She jumped 20 feet straight up, spun in the air, and landed without making a sound. The crowd cheered again. The betting odds went up to 60,000 to 1. Marcus stood still and watched. He was learning something important about his opponent. She was incredibly skilled, but she was also showing off. She wanted everyone to see how amazing she was. This told him something about how she thought. A countdown appeared on the arena screens. 10 seconds until the fight began. Princess Zixathera lowered into a fighting stance. Her claws extended fully and her black eyes focused on Marcus like a hunter spotting prey. Marcus rolled his shoulders once and took a deep breath. Then he dropped into a stance that looked casual but was actually from 3 different Earth fighting systems mixed together. The crowd grew quiet. This was the moment they had all come to see. 5 seconds. 4. 3. 2. The princess smiled one more time. 1. The bell rang, and the most important fight in human history began. The bell's sound had barely faded when Princess Zixathera exploded into motion. She moved faster than most humans could even see, her claws cutting through the air where Marcus had been standing just a moment before. But Marcus was no longer there. He had moved to the left, not running away but stepping sideways in a smooth motion that made the princess's attack miss by inches. The crowd gasped. They had expected the human to be cut down in the first second. The princess landed where Marcus had been standing, her claws leaving deep scratches in the metal floor. She spun around immediately, searching for her target. Marcus stood 10 feet away, still in that same relaxed fighting stance. He was breathing normally, like he had just taken a casual step instead of dodging a killing blow. Interesting, the princess said, her mandibles clicking with what might have been amusement. You are faster than I expected. But speed will not save you for long. She attacked again, this time with a series of strikes that came from different angles. Her claws moved like silver lightning, each one capable of cutting through armor plating. The alien crowd leaned forward in their seats, trying to follow the action. Marcus moved like water. He bent backward as claws whistled over his head. He stepped to the side as another strike missed his ribs by an inch. He ducked under a swing that would have taken his head off. Each movement was small, precise, and seemed to use no energy at all. The princess was fast, but Marcus appeared to know where she was going to attack before she did it. This was impossible according to everything the galaxy knew about human reflexes. What the watching aliens didn't understand was that Marcus wasn't trying to match the princess's speed. He was doing something much smarter. He was reading her patterns. Humans had learned to hunt by watching their prey, learning how it moved, finding its habits. Marcus had spent months studying videos of Velthari fighters. He knew they had 17 basic attack combinations and always used them in the same order when they got excited. The princess was getting excited. She pressed her attack, moving even faster now. Her claws carved the air in complex patterns that had defeated every opponent she had ever faced. But somehow the human kept slipping away from her strikes like smoke. After 2 minutes of this deadly dance, something unexpected happened. The princess had to stop and catch her breath. The crowd fell silent. Velthari were known for their stamina. Princess Zixathera could fight for hours without tiring. but she had just used more energy in 2 minutes than she normally used in an entire battle. Marcus stood nearby, still breathing easily. He hadn't even broken a sweat. How? The princess asked, her voice showing confusion for the first time. How are you avoiding my attacks? Human reflexes are not fast enough. Marcus smiled slightly. You're right. My reflexes aren't fast enough to dodge your attacks after you start them, so I don't try to. The princess tilted her head, not understanding. I dodge before you attack, Marcus explained. Your people have excellent fighting techniques, but they're very predictable. You always do the same combinations in the same order. This was like telling the princess that her perfect fighting skills were actually a weakness. Her black eyes narrowed with anger. Impossible. Velthari combat forms have been perfected over thousands of years. They're perfect for fighting other Velthari, Marcus agreed. But humans fight differently. We don't try to be stronger or faster than our enemies. We try to be smarter. The arena floor suddenly changed. The smooth metal surface split into sections that rose and fell at different heights, creating a landscape of platforms, valleys, and obstacles. This was meant to test how well both fighters could adapt to changing conditions. The princess leaped onto the highest platform with easy grace. From there, she could attack from above while Marcus was trapped below. She jumped down at him with all 4 claws extended, planning to pin him to the ground. Marcus did something that made the entire arena gasp. Instead of dodging away from the attack, he stepped toward it. At the last possible second, he grabbed the princess's wrists and used her own downward momentum to throw her past him. She crashed into a metal wall with a sound like breaking glass. The alien crowd couldn't believe what they had just seen. The small human had just thrown the 8-foot-tall princess like she weighed nothing. Princess Zixthera stood up slowly. For the first time in her life, she had been knocked down in combat. Her crystalline armor was cracked in several places, and blue blood leaked from a cut on her forehead. She looked at Marcus with new eyes. This was not the weak creature she had expected to fight. What kind of fighting is this? She demanded. Human fighting, Marcus replied simply. We learned it because we had to. When you're smaller and weaker than everything that wants to eat you, you learn to use your enemy's strength against them. The princess attacked again, but now she was angry instead of confident. Angry fighters make mistakes, and Marcus had been counting on this. She threw a powerful right-handed strike that could have punched through steel. Marcus stepped to the side and guided her arm past him with a gentle touch, making her stumble forward. While she was off balance, he struck her in the back of the knee with his elbow. It wasn't a hard strike, but it hit exactly the right spot. The princess's leg buckled and she fell to one knee. The crowd was completely silent now. Many of them were recording this fight to show others who wouldn't believe it. A human was winning against a Velthari princess. Princess Zixthera stood up again, but Marcus could see she was favoring that leg now. The small strike had done more damage than her armor could protect against. Your armor is designed to stop big attacks, Marcus said conversationally, as if they were having tea instead of fighting to the death. But it doesn't help much against pressure point strikes. Pressure points? Places where nerves come close to the surface. Hit them right and it doesn't matter how tough someone is. Humans mapped all the pressure points for dozens of alien species after we made first contact, just in case. The princess realized she was in trouble. This human knew things about her own body that she didn't know. He had studied her people like a scientist studies lab specimens. She tried a different approach, using her natural weapons in ways that weren't part of traditional Velthari combat. She grabbed pieces of the broken arena floor and threw them at Marcus like missiles. Marcus dodged some and deflected others, but one piece caught him in the shoulder and spun him around. Blue blood showed on his gray uniform for the first time. The princess smiled, thinking she had found a way to hurt him, but Marcus just rolled his shoulder and kept moving. The wound didn't seem to bother him at all. Good, he said, and he actually sounded pleased. I was wondering when you'd start improvising. You wanted me to hurt you? I wanted to see how creative you could be when your standard attacks weren't working. Now I know. The princess realized something that chilled her. This human wasn't just fighting her. He was studying her, learning from her, adapting his strategy as the fight continued. That was when she understood what she was really facing. This wasn't just a different fighting style. This was a completely different way of thinking about combat. And for the first time in her life, Princess Zixthera began to doubt that she could win. 10 minutes had passed since the fight began. In the betting booths around the arena, the odds were changing rapidly. What started at 50,000 to 1 against the human was now down to 100 to 1. Some aliens were starting to bet on Marcus. Princess Zixithera was breathing hard now. Her perfect crystalline armor had cracks spreading across it like a spider web. Blue blood dripped from several small cuts that Marcus had given her with precise strikes. None of the wounds were serious by themselves, but together they were slowing her down. Marcus looked exactly the same as when the fight started. His breathing was steady, his movements were still smooth, and his eyes were alert and focused. He moved around the changed arena floor like he had been born there. The princess tried another attack combination, but Marcus could see it coming from the way she shifted her weight. He stepped aside and let her claws cut through empty air. While she was recovering from the missed strike, he tapped her gently on the side of her neck. It was barely a touch, but the princess stumbled and had to grab a nearby platform to keep from falling. "What did you do?" she gasped. "Pressure point that affects balance," Marcus explained calmly. "It'll wear off in a minute, but right now your inner ear is confused." The crowd was murmuring now. Many aliens were talking to each other in worried voices. This wasn't how combat was supposed to work. The stronger fighter was supposed to win quickly and decisively. "This is impossible," said one alien commentator, whose voice was broadcast throughout the arena. "Humans are rated as Class 5 beings on the Galactic Threat Scale. The Velthari are Class 2. This should not be happening." But it was happening, and everyone could see it. Princess Zixithera shook her head, trying to clear the dizziness. When her balance returned, she looked at Marcus with something that might have been respect. "You have been planning this for a long time," she said. 6 months, Marcus admitted. "Ever since we learned Earth would need those mining rights. 6 months to study how to kill me." 6 months to study how to beat you without killing you, Marcus corrected. "Humans prefer not to kill unless we have to." This surprised the princess. In her culture, showing mercy to an enemy was seen as weakness. Why? Because dead enemies stay dead, but defeated enemies can become allies. "We'd rather have you as a friend than a memory." The arena floor changed again. This time, parts of it became transparent, like glass, while other sections turned into moving conveyor belts. The environmental systems were designed to make fighting more difficult as time went on. Princess Zixithera adapted quickly to the new terrain. She was still incredibly skilled. Even if her attacks weren't working against Marcus, she leaped from platform to platform like a deadly ballet dancer, trying to find an angle of attack that would work. Marcus adapted too, but in a different way. Instead of trying to match her acrobatics, he used the changing floor to his advantage. When she jumped at him, he stepped onto a conveyor belt that carried him out of her path. When she tried to corner him, he used the transparent sections to see her coming from below. "You fight like a coward," the princess said, frustrated that she couldn't pin him down for a decisive strike. "I fight like a human," Marcus replied. "We use every advantage we can find." He wasn't just talking about the arena. He was also using psychological warfare, something most alien species didn't understand. "You know," Marcus said as he dodged another series of strikes, "your fighting style is really impressive. Those attack combinations must have taken years to perfect." The princess paused, suspicious of the compliment. "But," Marcus continued, "they're designed for opponents who fight back the same way. Against someone who doesn't follow the rules you're used to, they're actually a disadvantage." "What do you mean?" "You're so focused on executing perfect techniques that you're not adapting to what's actually happening. You're fighting the opponent you expected to face, not the one you're actually facing." This made the princess angry, which was exactly what Marcus wanted. Angry fighters make more mistakes. She launched into her most devastating attack sequence, a spinning combination that used all 4 claws in a pattern that had never been defeated. It was called the death spiral in her language, and it was supposed to be impossible to survive. Marcus had been waiting for this attack. He had seen it in the videos he studied, and he had a plan for it. Instead of trying to dodge away from the spinning claws, he did something that shocked everyone watching. He stepped forward, moving into the attack instead of away from it. The princess was spinning so fast that she couldn't change direction. Marcus caught her arm at exactly the right moment and used her own spinning motion to throw her across the arena. She flew through the air and crashed into a wall so hard that the impact could be heard throughout the station. The arena fell completely silent. No one had ever seen the death spiral defeated before, let alone turned into a weapon against the person using it. Princess Zixithara lay on the ground for several seconds before slowly getting to her feet. Her armor was badly cracked now and she was moving like someone in pain. For the first time in her life, she was afraid. "How did you know?" she whispered. "Physics," Marcus said simply. "Once you commit to a spinning attack, you can't change direction until you complete the spin. That gives your opponent a brief window where they know exactly where you'll be. But no one has ever used that against us before. No one else had reason to study your fighting techniques for 6 months while knowing they'd have to face them in single combat." The princess looked around the arena. The alien crowd was staring at her with expressions she had never seen before. They looked disappointed, like they had expected something from her that she hadn't delivered. She realized that her reputation as an unbeatable warrior was cracking along with her. "Armor, you planned all of this," she said. "Not all of it," Marcus admitted. "I planned how to defend against your standard attacks. But you've improvised several times during this fight and I've had to adapt. That's what humans do best, we adapt." The princess tried to stand up straighter, but her injured leg wouldn't support her full weight. She was running out of options. "I could still kill you," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Maybe," Marcus agreed, "but it would cost you everything you have left. And even if you won, what would you have proved? That you could barely defeat someone your people consider weak?" The princess realized he was right. Even if she won now, she would never be seen the same way again. The galaxy had watched a human make her look clumsy and predictable. But more than that, she was starting to understand something important about the human standing in front of her. He wasn't just a different kind of fighter. He was a different kind of thinker. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "Nothing you haven't already given me," Marcus replied. "You wanted to prove that humans are too weak to deserve mining rights. Instead, you've shown the galaxy that we're the kind of species that can stand up to anyone, even when the odds are 50,000 to 1 against us." The princess looked up at the crowd of aliens watching them. She could see them talking among themselves, pointing at the human, reassessing everything they thought they knew about Earth. The fight wasn't over yet, but she was beginning to understand that she had already lost something more important than a single combat. She had lost the certainty that her people were the strongest in the galaxy, and the human who had taken that from her was still standing there, patient and ready, waiting to see what she would do next. 20 minutes had passed. The fight that was supposed to last 1 minute was still going, and Princess Zixithara was in real trouble for the first time in her life. Her breathing was heavy and labored. Blue blood stained her cracked armor in dozens of places. Her left leg could barely support her weight, and her right arm hung at an awkward angle where Marcus had used pressure point strikes to partially disable it. Marcus, meanwhile, looked like he could fight for hours more. He had a few cuts and bruises, but nothing serious. He moved with the same smooth efficiency he had shown at the beginning, like a machine that never tired. "This is impossible," the princess gasped. "How are you not exhausted?" Marcus smiled slightly. "Because I'm not fighting the way you expect me to fight. You've been using maximum energy with every attack, trying to end this quickly. I've been using minimum energy, letting you tire yourself out. That's not how combat works. That's not how your people's combat works," Marcus corrected. "Humans learned to hunt by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We call it persistence hunting. We're not the fastest or strongest predators, but we're the ones that never give up." The alien crowd was getting restless. Many of them had never seen a fight last this long. In most species' combat traditions, battles ended quickly when the stronger fighter overpowered the weaker one. But humans had evolved differently. They had learned to outlast their enemies instead of overpowering them. Princess Zixithara tried another attack, but it was slower and sloppier than her earlier ones. Marcus avoided it easily and responded with a precise strike to her shoulder that made her entire arm go numb. "You're fighting my nervous system," she realized. "I'm fighting smart," Marcus replied. "Your armor protects you from cuts and impacts, but it can't protect your nerves from pressure point attacks. Every strike I've made has been calculated to cause maximum disruption with minimum energy." The princess had to lean against a wall to stay upright. For the first time, she understood what she was really facing. This wasn't just a different fighting style. It was a completely different philosophy of combat. Where her people relied on overwhelming strength and speed, humans relied on intelligence, patience, and turning their opponent's advantages into disadvantages. "How many of you are there?" she asked. "What do you mean? Fighters like you." How many humans can fight this way? Marcus considered the question. Most of them, if they had the training and preparation time I had. This answer terrified the princess more than anything else that had happened in the fight. If most humans could potentially fight at this level, then everything the galaxy thought it knew about Earth was wrong. The arena floor changed one more time. Now it was a maze of walls that appeared and disappeared, forcing both fighters to adapt to constantly changing conditions. Princess Zixithera tried to use the walls to her advantage, hiding behind them and launching surprise attacks. But Marcus seemed to know where she was even when he couldn't see her. He would be ready for her attacks before she emerged from hiding. How? She demanded after another failed ambush. Sound, Marcus explained. Your claws make a specific noise when they scrape against metal. Your breathing has a particular rhythm. Your footsteps have a unique pattern. Humans are very good at processing audio information. The princess realized that the human had been using senses she hadn't even considered. While she relied primarily on sight, he was gathering information from sound, smell, air movement, and vibrations through the floor. What else can your people do that we don't know about? She asked. Many things, Marcus said honestly. But the most important thing is that we never stop learning. Every fight, every challenge, every failure teaches us something new. That's how we survived on a world where almost everything was bigger and stronger than us. The princess tried one more desperate attack. She gathered all her remaining strength and launched herself at Marcus with every combat skill she possessed. Marcus didn't try to dodge this time. Instead, he stepped forward to meet her attack. At the moment of impact, he used a technique that was part martial arts, part physics, and part pure human stubbornness. He absorbed the force of her attack, redirected it through his own body, and used it to throw her to the ground with devastating effect. The princess hit the arena floor and didn't get up. She lay there for several long seconds, her chest rising and falling rapidly. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. I yield. The arena erupted in chaos. Aliens from dozens of species were on their feet, shouting, clicking, roaring, and making sounds of disbelief. Many were demanding to know how this was possible. Others were already changing their bets and their opinions about humanity. Marcus walked over to where the princess lay. Instead of standing over her in triumph, he knelt down and offered her his hand. That was an excellent fight, he said sincerely. You're everything the report said you were. I just happened to have advantages you weren't prepared for. Princess Zixithera looked at the offered hand with confusion. In her culture, defeated enemies were either killed or left to suffer in shame. The idea of helping a fallen opponent was completely foreign. Why? She asked. Because the fight is over, Marcus said simply. You fought with honor and you accepted defeat with dignity. That makes you worthy of respect. Slowly, carefully, the princess reached out and took his hand. Marcus helped her to her feet, supporting her weight until she could stand on her own. The crowd fell silent again, watching this unprecedented display of sportsmanship. I don't understand your species, the princess said. That's okay, Marcus replied.
6 months ago, I didn't understand yours either.
But I learned. Maybe this is a chance for both our peoples to learn about each other. Ambassador Krextel approached them, his expression unreadable. The Velthari diplomat had just watched his princess defeated by a species he had considered barely worth noticing. The terms of the combat trial have been met, he announced to the crowd. Earth has won mining rights to Kepler 442b. But everyone in the arena knew that something much more important had just happened. The galaxy's understanding of humanity had changed forever. Princess Zixithera looked at Marcus one more time before her medical team arrived. To tend to her injuries, you said your people prefer to make allies instead of enemies, she said. That's right. I think, she said slowly, that I would like to learn more about how humans think. Marcus smiled. I think that can be arranged. As medical teams from both species worked together to treat the princess's injuries, the alien crowd continued to buzz with excited conversation. News of the fight was already spreading throughout the galaxy, through faster-than-light communication networks. On dozens of worlds, alien leaders were suddenly very interested in learning more about the species they had dismissed as weak and primitive. Marcus stood in the center of the arena, still calm and composed despite having just changed the course of galactic history. He looked up at the thousands of alien faces, staring down at him, and realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity had just announced to the galaxy that they were not the helpless prey. species everyone thought they were. They were something much more dangerous and much more valuable. They were the species that could think their way out of any problem. The princess was right about one thing. Marcus Chen wouldn't last a minute in a straight fight against her. But there was no such thing as a straight fight when humans were involved. 3 hours after the fight ended, Marcus sat in a medical bay aboard Nexus Prime. A Velthari doctor was treating the cuts on his shoulder and arm. The doctor's 4 hands moved with precise skill, but Marcus could see the confusion in her large black eyes. "Your bone density is much lower than ours," the doctor said as she worked. "Your muscle fibers are different too. By all biological measures, you should not have been able to defeat the princess." "Biology isn't everything," Marcus replied calmly. "Then what is?" Marcus thought about the question. Adaptation, problem solving, the ability to learn from mistakes and try new approaches. The doctor finished bandaging his wounds and stepped back. "I have studied many species' medical files. Humans have the strangest combination of weaknesses and advantages I have ever seen." "How so?" "Your bodies are fragile compared to most spacefaring species. You have poor natural armor, average strength, limited speed. But your brains..." She paused, searching for the right words. "Your brains process information in ways we are only beginning to understand." Before Marcus could respond, the medical bay door opened. Princess Zixathera entered, moving slowly, but under her own power. Her armor had been repaired, though the new sections didn't quite match the color of the original crystal. "I wanted to speak with you before you left," she said. The doctor quickly excused herself, leaving them alone. The princess sat down carefully across from Marcus. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "I have been thinking about our fight," she finally said. "And I realized something that frightens me. You were not fighting at your full capability." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "What makes you say that?" "Because you were talking to me during the combat, explaining things, analyzing my techniques, even complimenting my skills. Someone fighting for their life does not waste energy on conversation." She was right, and Marcus saw no reason to deny it. "You were teaching me," she continued. "Even while we fought, you were showing me things about human thinking that I had never considered." "And what did you learn?" The princess was quiet for a moment, organizing her thoughts. "I learned that strength is not just physical power. I learned that the most dangerous opponent is not the one who can kill you quickly, but the one who can outthink you. And I learned that humans are not the weak species we believe them to be. What are we then?" "I think," she said slowly, "that you are apex predators who simply hunt differently than anyone else in the galaxy." Marcus smiled. "That's a very insightful conclusion. It is also a terrifying one. If one human can do what you did today, what could your entire species accomplish if they put their minds to it?" Before Marcus could answer, Ambassador Krextal entered the medical bay. The Velthari diplomat looked tired and stressed. "Marcus Chen of Earth," he said formally, "I have been in communication with the Velthari High Council. They wish to speak with you." "About what?" "About revising our species' relationship with humanity." Princess Zixthara looked at her ambassador with surprise. "Revising how?" "The High Council has watched recordings of today's combat trial. They have concluded that our previous assessment of human capabilities was incomplete." Marcus stood up, testing his injured shoulder. It was stiff but functional. "What kind of revision are we talking about?" he asked. "The kind where we stop treating Earth as a minor world and start treating it as a potential major power," Krextal replied. Over the next hour, Marcus found himself in a series of increasingly important meetings. First with Velthari leaders, then with representatives from other major galactic powers who had witnessed the fight. The tone of these meetings was completely different from the dismissive attitude he had faced when he first arrived at Nexus Prime. Now, alien diplomats were asking careful questions about human intentions, capabilities, and goals. "We may have made an error in judgment regarding your species," admitted Ambassador Irel of the Korthani Union. "The galactic community would like to recalibrate our relationship with Earth." "What does that mean in practical terms?" Marcus asked. It means mining rights to Kepler 442b are just the beginning, said Minister Vex of the Trillion Confederacy. We would like to discuss technology, sharing agreements, trade partnerships, and mutual defense treaties. Marcus kept his expression neutral, but inside he was amazed. A few hours ago, these same beings had been taking bets on how quickly he would die. Now they were offering partnerships that could accelerate human development by centuries. I'll need to discuss these proposals with Earth's government, he said diplomatically. Of course, said Ambassador Earl. But please understand that time is a factor. Word of today's events is spreading throughout the galaxy. Other powers will soon be making their own offers to humanity. After the meetings ended, Marcus found himself alone in his quarters aboard the diplomatic transport that would take him back to Earth. He was staring out the viewport at the stars when Sarah Kim knocked on his door. Come in, he called. Sarah entered, carrying a data tablet and wearing an expression of disbelief. Marcus, you need to see this, she said, handing him the tablet. The screen showed news reports from across the galaxy. Headlines in dozens of alien languages all said essentially the same thing. Human defeats Velthari Princess in single combat, and unknown species emerges as galactic power. It gets better, Sarah said, scrolling through more reports. Earth stock value in the galactic trade markets has increased by 3,000% in the last 6 hours. We're receiving diplomatic contact requests from 47 different species, and the Galactic Council wants to fast-track our application for full membership status. Marcus set down the tablet and rubbed his temples. All because of one fight. It wasn't just a fight, Marcus. It was a demonstration. You showed the galaxy that humans can compete with anyone, even when the odds seem impossible. I showed them that one human with months of preparation and very specific circumstances could defeat one opponent, Marcus corrected. That doesn't mean we're ready to be a major galactic power. Maybe not, Sarah agreed. But the galaxy doesn't know that. Right now, they're all wondering what else humans can do that they don't know about. Marcus thought about Princess Zixuthera's words. She was right that he hadn't been fighting at full capacity. He had been holding back, not because he was stronger than her, but because his real goal wasn't to defeat her physically. It was to change how the galaxy thought about humanity. What happens now? Sarah asked. Marcus looked out at the stars again. Somewhere among them was Earth, a small blue world that had just become the center of galactic attention. Now we prove that we deserve the respect we've earned, he said. We show the galaxy that humans are not just clever fighters but good allies, reliable partners, and worthy members of the galactic community. And if we can't live up to their new expectations? Marcus smiled, thinking about all the humans back on Earth who were probably preparing for the challenges ahead. Scientists, diplomats, engineers, soldiers, teachers, and countless others who would soon be working to build humanity's place among the stars. Then we do what humans have always done, he said. We adapt, we learn, and we find a way to exceed expectations instead of just meeting them. The transport ship engaged its faster-than-light drive, carrying Marcus and his team back toward Earth. Behind them, the galaxy was already changing, as alien species reconsidered everything they thought they knew about the small world called Earth and its supposedly weak inhabitants. Princess Zixuthera had been right about one thing. Marcus Chen wouldn't have lasted a minute against her in the kind of fight she expected. But humans, as the galaxy was about to learn, rarely gave their opponents the kind of fight they expected.